Greetings, Saber fans. I have here for you a pretty awesome little project. This is a Phoenix Prop 7Chambers TFU1 Starkiller Hilt, which is pretty awesome. This saber did not look like this when I first got it from Phoenix Props. It was all shiny aluminum. Everything was powder coated black, and I've done a lot of wear and tear and personal customization to make this thing look good. Let's start off with the customizations at the front. Number one, I've heat stained the stainless steel emitter with a torch by heating it. I've also taken their factory blade plug and backlit it with Neopixels with its own custom Neopixel blade plug. I have shortened the screw on the button so it sits closer down on the hilt. This does act as a quasi-temporary secondary blade retention, but the main blade retention is via this 832 set screw here. I have added the custom weathering on the hilt by painting it with an iron oxide paint and oxidizing it with an acid to make this iron paint actually rust. So this is iron oxide. It's real iron oxide. Now aluminum doesn't rust, so obviously the rust is faux rust from that respect, and that aluminum won't rust. I did use Birchwood Casey's aluminum black on the hilt prior to rusting it to give it this nice weathered appearance. Even there's patina on the Graflex pins. And I even weathered the grips. As you can see, the grips are weathered as if they've been in use for years by Galen Merrick, the Starkiller. And I've also weathered your belt clip and also the button here, the bottom button. Now, the real sweet thing about this saber is I have done the crystal chamber with proplicators. You get something to point with. Down in here you can see these brass fins. That's proplicator full polished brass insert from Shapeways. Just this insert is like $140. So that's an expensive addition to this saber. Now, in addition to that insert, I've also added Darth Chasm conduit in the crystal chamber, and it is slightly uneven, but it is a Starkiller saber. The crystal is illuminated with an RGB 5mm LED, and this saber is also equipped with a Goth 3D chassis with a semi-permanent battery installed in it. The battery can be swapped out fairly easily, but there is the Goth 3D chassis, which I have also weathered to match the appearance of the hilt. This is the custom Saber Shop battery. It's a 15 amp custom Saber Shop 18650. This saber also has a 1.3mm recharge port, and I also have accent LEDs underneath the chassis here which light up in the battery meter mode. And this is equipped with Proffie 2.2, which you can see just underneath there. You can see little hints of the Proffie board 2.2 in there, but that is most certainly a Proffie 2.2, and the SD sticks out right here. And you do have programming port access here, but it's tight, and I'll show you the programming cord I use in the instructional video. There's also a high amp on off switch and a TCS WOW speaker. This saber is pretty awesome. I am very proud of this build. This is, I think, one of my finest builds. This is a for sale video, and the price point will be located in the description of the video. The saber is going to be expensive, but when you consider the cost of the hilt and the cost of the Proplicator full brass fins, the fact that Proffie 2.2s aren't widely available yet, and then you have my install in this saber and the custom weathering, there was a lot of work and a lot of time and a lot of effort went into building this saber. I think it's pretty much one of a kind. I'm very proud of this build, and now let's roll that beautiful demonstration video.
Hey, buddy. Hey, Risky.
Hey guys, welcome to a new edition of Megtooth Sith's Crazy Garage. And this is a demonstration video for this Phoenix Prop 7Chambers Starkiller hilt. And this is my third Starkiller hilt, and actually this is my finest. This is a Neopixel Saber. It's powered by Proffie 2.2. Right now, as it's programmed, it does have some level of deep sleep in it. It's not as good as, you know, Nano Biscotti or Prism, but it's getting there. It's very, very close. My 2.2 Sabers, I don't keep a recharge port in them. I don't turn them off, and you know, they last as long as I play with them. I have one that's been up for 2 months, and the only time I have to charge it's when I play with it. But at any rate, I want to demonstrate this thing now. It's full of fantastic fonts, and after this video, if you stick tight, we'll get into the instructions for the video and, you know, the details of the sale. So the first font, by the way, I bought all these fonts specifically for these three sabers, and this is the third saber of that production that I bought all these fonts for. And this first font is by Proplicator, and it's his Starkiller font. With accent swings. It's got localized lockup from Fernando de Rosa. It's also got force lightning lockup, and how you get the force lightning lockup is you hold power the front button and clash the saber. And now you've got force lightning lockup, like you're stopping somebody that's using force lightning on you. It's also got tip drag. Point the saber down toward the ground, hit ox, boom, we've got tip drag. Blaster blocks. Now, this is programmed with SA2CC's mod, Matt McGrory, so this is also a color changing saber, including the crystal. I want to show you all that. It's better on the next font, but the crystal matches everything. So let's go into color changing mode. That tone lets you know you're in color changing mode, and every time you swing the saber, it changes colors. There's 13 colors on here, including white, and the next color after white is red. So I'm going to lock in that color. Now the bonus of SA2CC's color changing mod is you also have blade effects changing. And I put these special blades that allow color changing and effects changing on this first preset, but it's also on the first ray preset, the first blue blade you see. So I'm going to go and change the style now, and it's going to cycle through the styles. A random pearl LED flicker or a brown hump flicker. That's a pulse. That's a random pearl LED flicker. That is a slow fire. Fast fire, rain blade, rainbow gradient, and then, I missed locking it in. To get into the mode, you press power and twist the saber, and you got to really do a hard twist to get this mode in, which is good because you don't want it doing this by accident. But as soon as it goes to the rainbow gradient, bam, the next one is the one I'm going to lock in. And you can lock it in with a button press. I was trying to lock it in with a twist, but you can also lock it in with a button press. So that's font 1. Font 2 is a Vader font. Now each of these presets can also have background music. Oh, let me go back to the Starkiller.
Vader's Assassin.
Vader's Assassin by the Proplicator. The background music on this one is... You don't have to have the music on. The music is an option. If you want to run the music, you can. If you don't want it, you don't have to. garage door opener. Vader. Now, on the first preset, the crystal wasn't pulsing when it was off, but on the rest of them, it is. And also, there's accent LEDs in the chassis that run on all the other presets too. The reason I didn't put the pulsing crystal chamber on font number 1, if you store the Saber in font number 1 and nothing else is going, that's what gives you that battery saver mode. But when you have these pulsing crystal chambers, if you store the Saber in this mode, when you have these chambers pulsing, no bueno. So this is Vader. Swings. Try not to hit the garage door opener. That's not color changing. Next preset. Vengeance. This is K-Sys Vengeance. You can see the red pulsing crystal chamber until you ignite, then it goes solid. Localized lockup. Tip drag. All these have tip drag. Blasters. Flashes. Next font is K-Sys Crossguard. Now the cool thing is, look at that chambers. It's a pulsing fire blade in the chamber. It's pretty awesome. I think I'm unique. I think I'm the only one doing that. When you ignite the Saber, of course, it goes... Turn those lights off so you can see it. When you ignite the Saber, it goes full on fire blade. Of course, the background music on this is Kylo Ren's theme. There's lockup, blaster blocks. And that is a retractable fire blade from Thalria. It's also got a white lead spark tip on it, which is awesome. That's the Force sounds, double click and power. Need to up the clash sensitivity still on this a bit. Still getting some speaker-induced clashes.
Imperial Knight.
Next font is Imperial Knight. This is by Saber Baron. White blade. I'll adjust the clash sensitivity. Normal lockup with a red strobe, which is crazy. With blaster blocks. Flash. Tip drag, which is red. Retraction. This is Ray. This is K-Sys Broke Flex, and this is a color changing blade. And you can see the crystal chamber. Hang on a minute. Crystal chamber is off. So when you activate this blade, boom, blue. accent swings and smooth swing. There's your lockup. But you also have force lightning lockup on this blade. Might not see it on that blue. Tip drag. Force sounds. Now, color changing. It also does effects changing. Here's your rain blade. Gradient rainbow. Audio flicker, and I'm going to lock that in. Retracting the saber. Next preset is K-Sith's Return of the Jedi Luke Skywalker. Background should be Jabba's barge scene. It is. Push him in. R2-D2 throws the saber. It comes down in Luke's hand. Bam! You're in the movie. The balanced K-Sith is a purple blade. Normal lockup. Tip drag. Blaster blocks. This is the light, and I believe this is a blue fire blade. Oh no, it's a blue spark tip blade. That's pretty awesome. Watch that. Watch that. Watch that blade go out. You can see the crystal chamber pulsing blue. Watch the blade go out. There's a white lead on it. That's awesome. Normal lockup. Tip drag. Blaster blocks.
I'm from the Resistance. Your sister Leia sent me. We need your help.
This is a Ray Fireblade. Lockup. Blasters. Flash. Tip drag. Retraction.
The Saber project.
Now, the crystal is going to all different colors here, and that lets you know this is the rainbow blade. This is Professor Oren's factory rainbow blade. Background is Cantina. Just a fun blade. Needs to be on every Proffie and TNT saber. Retraction. Next spot is our battery meter blade, and it's in the battery meter's in the crystal chamber on the blade, and it's also in the chassis. So that concludes the demo of that saber. Hope everybody liked that. It's a pretty awesome saber. Hopefully my lights didn't drown out the blade in the beginning. If it did, I'll edit that out. But thank you everybody for watching, and keep watching, and we'll get to the instruction portion of the video for the saber. This portion of the video serves as instructions on how to use this saber. This saber has been programmed with Matt McGreary SA2CC's fork on the Proffie operating system by Frederick Hubinet. This is Matt McGreary SA2CC's color changing fork, but it also has volume control on the buttons, and it does color changing, and it does style changing. And also a cool part of Matt McGreary's mods is you have volume control, which I'll explain how to do that, but you also have battery level speak. If you press and hold the aux while the saber is in idle,
3.97 volts.
It speaks its voltage. This saber is currently at 3.97 volts. So that's a pretty cool mod. So when you first turn on the Saber and put the hilt on, it'll be in the Starkiller sound font, which I've already demonstrated that, but there's your music, which is pretty awesome. And I'm going to turn the music off for the demonstration. To ignite the Saber, by the way, there are two buttons here on the switch box. This forward one is your power, the rear switch is auxiliary. So how you work the Saber, to turn it on, briefly press power. And there the Saber is illuminated, and you can see the blade plug going there as well. Of course, waving it around, you got smooth swings and access swings. To clash the Saber, clash the Saber. To fire a blaster block, a brief press of auxiliary. The blaster blocks are kind of weak on this font. Sorry, Proplicator, but they are kind of weak. To get lockup, there's two ways to do lockup. The first way, and on this particular blade style, you're going to get localized lockup in the middle of the blade, and that's to press and hold auxiliary. And that'll give you localized lockup in the center of the blade. The second way to get lockup is to hold power and clash the Saber. If you do this form of lockup, it'll stay locked up until you release power, but this is how you're getting the Force Lightning. It's the second lockup style. This is unique to Matt McGurry's fork. To get force sounds, you double tap the power button. Now, to go into color changing mode, press and hold power and briefly tap aux. Oop. While the Saber's ignited, press and hold power and tap aux. Now we're in color changing mode. Every time you swing the Saber, it changes colors. There's 13 colors. To lock in the color that you want, press power and hold aux. Bada bing. Color's locked in. Now, this also has style changing, and how we get to style changing is press power and twist the Saber quickly. And now it's going to cycle through all of its styles. The fire blade, quicker fire blade, rain blade, gradient rainbow, red audio flicker. I'm going to lock it in on red audio flicker. I demonstrated the style changing on the video, but how do you get to style changing? I'm going to turn the Saber off so it's not so noisy. How you get to the style changing is you press and hold this forward button and quickly twist the Saber. You'll hear the menu tone showing you that it's going into a style changing menu, and then it'll sit there and automatically cycle through the styles. When you find a style you want, press and hold power and briefly touch aux, and that'll lock in whatever style that you're on. The volume menu. Now this is complicated, but when the Saber is in idle, like it is right now, it's not ignited, you're going to press and hold auxiliary for about 2 seconds. 1, 2, release. Now you're in the volume menu. To increase volume, press power. When you hear that tone, you're at full volume. Press and hold auxiliary for 2 seconds to get out of the volume menu. Now the Saber functions as normal. If you ever get into a situation where you're pressing buttons and all you get are these beeps, that means you're in the volume menu. To get out of the volume menu, 2 second press on aux. Out of the volume menu, Saber ignites. To go to our next preset, we press aux briefly while the saber is in idle. And now it's switching to Vader, and you can see the crystal chamber pulsing there. We're going to ignite the saber by pressing power. The crystal no longer pulses, it's on solid, matching the saber. There's your lockup. Blaster blocks, etc., etc. To do a force sound, again, you double tap power.
Don't make me destroy you. You don't know the power of the dark side.
Turning it off. To get a music track while the saber is in idle, press and hold power for 2 seconds. 1, 2. This is the hallway scene from Rogue One that goes with the Darth Vader font. Press and hold power for 2 seconds to stop the music track. You don't have to play a music track. It's optional. Now, Proffie board also has basically a mute on the go function similar to Plector. And how you activate the saber in mute mode is you quickly press power twice. And the saber ignites. You can see I have lockup there, but there is no volume going. So there's a mute function, and you just double tap power to turn on the saber. To turn it off, you're going to see that crystal go back to pulse. Press and hold power until the saber retracts. And now the crystal's back to pulsing again, and if we ignite the saber now, it'll have volume. So that's the mute feature. Next, let's show you the internals. To remove the hilt, lefty-loosey on the bottom of the hilt. Once it gets clear of the threads, you want to gently pull the hilt off of the chassis. This is the GAW 3 Designs chassis, and this is your 1.3mm recharge port. I'm including with this saber sail an adapter that lets you adapt from 2.1mm to 1.3mm. I've already tested this adapter, and indeed I have charged the battery using this adapter. So if you don't have a 1.3mm charger, no problem.
The saber is initializing.
You can see the recharge port works as well as far as cutting it off. It just rebooted. So I'm including that charge cord. The important thing when you're charging is to make sure that the power switch is on when you're charging. I did run the positive leg off the recharge port through the switch and then to the board. So this switch actually kills the positive leg on the board, but if you have this switch turned off, it also kills the positive feed to the battery. So you want to make sure you have this switch on when you're charging the saber through the 1.3mm recharge port. Thank you everybody for watching, and may the Force be with you, or the dark side, as it were.